everyone. Today I would be giving you some information on research types. So previously I've given a video, I've taken a video about research, what is research and what are research objectives. So this is a video about the different types of research. So we would not be looking at all the types, but we would be focusing on one type for this video, and I would give you information about the other types in the forthcoming videos. So to give you an overview, or why I have taken this topic for today is, we do a lot of research in our day-to-day life, no matter what domain we are in, what industry we belong to, or what function we might be executing, or which department we are in, or which process we follow. Definitely we always have a point where we have to do research. So at that time we do a very general research. We google, then we use some maybe little analytics, and that's it for it. Okay, so there are a lot of types of research. Okay, when I came across and I found it interesting, so there are various scenarios by which you have to choose which type of research you have to do. So we will look at this in detail and see, like, in which scenarios which type of research methods you can use in order to do your research. So let's get into it. So to start off, these are the different types of researches. So the first one is descriptive versus analytical, applied versus fundamental, qualitative versus quantitative, conceptual versus empirical, and you have some other types of research. So in this video, I will be focusing on the descriptive versus analytical research type. So let's get into it. So when we come to descriptive research, okay, the descriptive research consists of surveys and fact-finding inquiries of different types. Now let me first start off with an example. Imagine you are going into a new company, okay, and you have a person who's going to interview you, okay. So when you go into the company, or before going for the interview, you first want to find out how the company is, how the person who's going to interview, what type of a person he is, or you want to find out about people who have already attended the interview, what type of questions would be asked. So all these would be little scenarios in which you need to collect information about a particular problem or a particular event or an entity or a process. Okay, this type of, when you want to collect information about something, then you would go in for descriptive research. Okay, so that's what it says. It consists of surveys and fact-finding inquiries of different types. The next one is, the main objective of descriptive research is describing the state of affairs as it prevails at the time of study. So taking the example, so at the time you are going for your interview, you would, during that time period, you would actually check out and try to get details about that particular event. Okay, you would not go and you won't do a past study about what happened 20 years back, who was the person who took the interview 20 years back, what was the interview process 20 years back, okay, what were the questions asked 20 years back. You would not do that. Okay, you would always do it at the time where the during the time of study, where you actually want to get that information during that time period. Okay, so this is the main objective of this type of a research. You always have to do it. It's a state where you describe the state of affairs as it prevails at the time of study. And the next one is, this research type can be considered when the problem statement is known. So always when you know what you want to, what information you need, or what problem you're trying to solve, okay, when that is known, now the problem needn't be very certain, at least this is something that I need to solve. When you know the problem, then you can always go in for this descriptive research. Else don't go in for this type of a research. There's another research which is called as exploratory, where you don't know what is the problem, but you just want to explore the various possibilities. At that time you can go in for exploratory. Else, when you know what is the problem, okay, then you go in for descriptive type of a research. Another example I can give you is for this particular statement, problem statement. When the problem statement is known as, Imagine you're trying to do a research about a particular feature of your product. Okay, now you want to find out, the problem is, let's say I want to do payments, okay, online payments. So at this point of time, you want to know what are the different payment options, what are the different integrations, how other people are doing their online payments. You would want to know something that is already in hand, okay, at this point of time, how things work. So at that time, you'll do a descriptive. But suppose you want to explore actually what, you know, um, are the different possibilities or future, payment methods that might arise, then you would do a exploratory research. Okay, you would do a exploratory research to find out different possibilities, and you don't know what might be the exact problem statement that you would have to solve, okay, or you might have to solve. So at that time, you'll do an exploratory. The next one is, the most distinguishing feature of this method is that the researcher has no control over the variables. Okay, so now when you do this type of a descriptive research, you will not have any control over the various facts that you are going to collect. So when you take the example of, you going for an interview, okay, and you're finding out details ahead about how the interview method is, how the person who's going to interview, how generally the interview process is. So you would be getting different, inputs from different people. So those are all different variables. Variables might be the, maybe related to salary, might be related to the time. It might be related to, the different aspects, the very qualitative aspects of it, how the very interviewer was, whether he was a calm person, patient person, or whether he was very strict, or whether he was very detail oriented. So all these are different variables that you might come across. So during this time, you can never control, you can never limit, these are the only variables I will be collecting, because you would be getting n number of variables. So that's why they say the researcher has no control over the variables. At this point of time, the term ex post factor research is quite often used for this type of research study. So, what is this ex post factor? So, the ex post factor research, these are projects, okay, where descriptive studies are used, okay, by the researcher, and the main attempts are done in order to examine a phenomena, okay, let's say such as customers preferences, the frequency of purchases, etc. So you where is this ex post factor research, okay, done is in scenarios where you want to understand or examine certain phenomena such as customer preferences, frequency of purchases. Now when you ask, questions like, what are the different customer preferences for the product, at that time you would be getting n number of questions. As I said, you have no control over the variables. All you do is you keep getting inputs from through queries or through, surveys, etc. So you keep getting inputs and you don't have any control over what will be the different variables that will pop up. So despite not having, control over these variables, still with this, you would be able to understand various causes. Okay, so let's take the example of, you're having the product, you got all the customer preferences. Okay, so some customers said that the product was working fine, some customers said they had certain, issues with regards to the function of the system. It was very slow. Some users said that the budget was not according to their particular budget, the pricing and subscription, they were not able to pay, they were not able to afford. So with all this detail, at least you will be able to understand the various causes. When they say there's something wrong, there are some glitches with functionality, you will look into that. Okay, depending on different reviews that they have given, you would come to understand, okay, maybe my system, when data is more, then at that time the system tends to, slow down. So these are different, you would tend to find out causes. So with these variables, though you don't have control over these variables and these inputs, still with these inputs you will be able to discover various causes. So this is the main objective of this particular type of a research. And when you do this type of a research, there's always certain subdivisions you would come across. You would also have to do some surveys, then you also might have to do case studies. You will have to do correlation study, how things correlate with each other, and also you might have to do comparative studies. Okay, so these are different ways in which you'll have to, these are all the subdivisions of this type of a research. Since you want to collect information, you'll do surveys. Since you want to analyze a particular that problem statement, you will do a case study. Then since you have so many variables in hand, you would also do correlation analysis, and comparative studies also would be done. Okay, so these are all the subdivisions of descriptive research type. The next one is analytical research type, which is very straightforward and very simple, and we all know that. So the researchers, they use the already available facts or information and they analyze them to make a critical evaluation of the subject. So always in analytics and data analytics, what is done, data is collected, you have data, and then you start working and analyzing that data in order to understand, in order to bring out certain information hidden in that data. So at this time you already have the facts in your hand, and with these facts you're trying to do some research. So for example, say you have got a lot of customer rating data and customer information about your product. So since you already have that information in hand, now with this information you might want to do some research. For example, you might want to find out the frequency customers subscribe to your product, then the the satisfaction rate of the customers, then customers by country, customers by demographic, customers by industry. All these would be certain research that you want to do with existing fact in your hand. So this is called as analytical research type. So overview, so whenever you have a problem statement in hand and you want to describe that particular problem statement, you want to get information about that particular problem, then go in for descriptive. If you already have enough information in your hand and you want to do a further research on that, then you can go in for analytical type of a research. Now don't only constrain yourself with these two, there are various other research types that exist, and I will be giving that information in the next videos. So please continue to watch those videos also to get information on the different other research types. And if you found this video to be helpful, please do like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to this channel, and also do share your feedbacks. Thank you.